welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 436. This show is brought to you by Primary Arms and VZ Grips. I'm Chad Wallace, and in this show we will be discussing a prism review, commie pistols, optics, and quiet things. As you may know, we showcase guns, gear, and anything else you, as a gun enthusiast, may be looking for. We do our best to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. Tonight, my co-hosts are Tony, Rob, and Rusty. So no drunk Zane tonight, so you guys are safe. Our first sponsor of the night is our friends over at VZ Grips. And VZ Grips has been manufacturing handgun grips since 2003. With a reputation for quality, consistency, and innovation, top-tier manufacturers choose VZ Grips. They come in a variety of styles, patterns, colors, and are manufactured from proprietary G10, micarta, or carbon fiber. Available with varying degrees of texture, VZ offers a wide range of grips for all different firearms. Made in the USA, VZ Grips offers you more than just those handgun grips. But our featured grip of the week this week is the Smith & Wesson KL frame boot grip in the VZ320 texture. And basically the VZ320 texture is just a very smooth texture, and it's basically just the mill marks left behind from the CNC machines is how they describe it. So, it still gives you a little bit of grip, but, it won't, rub your side raw if it's, being carried concealed or something to that effect. So check out VZ Grips at vzgrips.com. And use the code GGR15, and it will get you 15% off those handgun and rifle grips. So, did you guys do anything cool in firearms this week?
Oh, you said cool? No.
Okay, anything.
Just dry fired.
I did.
Use a point blank, and that's about it.
Gotcha. Okay, Rusty.
Pulled out my carry gun and realized that I'd been out in the sun so much and I'm starting to peel that it collects a lot of skin when you carry inside. And I cleaned magazines and lint and everything on my gun. It was horrible. I was a bad gun owner.
Well, as long as it didn't rust.
Oh.
Nice. Well, it's got a little bit of got a little rust on it.
Uh-oh.
Well, at least your
That
gun's
just shows
used.
it's well carried.
Yeah, at least it's not a safe queen, right?
No, God, no. I'll beat the crap out of them.
It did absolutely nothing.
We're pretty hopeless here. I worked on some reviews. I did not make it to the range, but Primary Arms Optics division was kind enough to send me a couple optics for review. They sent their new SLX 4-12x50 Hunter, which I think we talked about quickly once or twice. And we did talk about this more at extent. They sent their GLX 1-6x24 in the first focal plane. I did have it out of the box. That thing is super nice. So eventually you'll get reviews on those two things. I actually don't have that optics, neither of them mounted up because I hadn't figured out what to put them on. Plus, I needed a mount for the 30 millimeter tube.
Oh, I got a few candidates.
Well,
I can take one.
I'm sure. So those are here. I'm trying to think. I didn't really get much else done.
I'm still waiting for that Adabel scope I ordered about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I think they're shipping end of this month or something. I can't remember.
Blah. Shipping sometime next year. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? They'll get it to you though. I did get some zombie green mags.
Is that green or yellow? It looks yellow.
It's actually green. It's crappy color on the camera on here.
I think that was urine.
Yeah, it kind of looks that way.
I'm like, you know what? You could draw a minion on there and do like the Gru's minions.
I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, yeah, that's like crappy color. I mean, I can't even hold it.
More water.
I know. Does this help? That helps it a little.
No.
Yeah, but Yeah, I had to order a couple just because, I was like, yeah, why not? They're Lancer hybrid mags. So I know they're good mags. It just, nah.
I do like Lancer. I run a lot of their hex mags.
So, yeah, these are the what? The plastic with the metal feed lip hybrid ones. Multiple colors. I have some for my purple ARs because they match it fairly close. So, announcements. Our bandwidth sponsor is Patriot Patch Co. And their patch of the month, I guess they were having trouble and shipping them a little late, but they are shipping out now. And the August exclusive is the Suns Out, Guns Out with the Tiki on a surfboard with his, I don't know, scar or something with a grenade launcher or something like that. But it's pretty cool. So definitely go check them out. And for the rest of you, T-shirts are available through their FRN site, or you can click the merch tab on firearmsinsider.tv. But we have Kilt in the Streets. Okay.
So feedback there, brother.
I know. I don't know who that was from. It must be Rusty. He's smiling. But there are Kilt in the Street T-shirts now available for sale on there. So, just something else for you guys to buy. But we appreciate it. We do actually make like a couple bucks on each one. I don't exactly know how much, but it's pretty minimal. And just
it's not good enough to put us up in a decent house when we go to SHOT Show.
No.
Nope, not at all.
Well, Tony's in charge of that next year, so,
I was almost killed in the streets.
That's why do you think we have the shirts available now?
Yeah. Yeah, next year we'll probably be on top of one of the freaking strip clubs.
With Tony. Jeez.
No.
Bubbles.
Yeah, they'll probably put him up in the penthouse for free if we just give him one of those shirts and patches at Tony.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a bunch of affiliate links. Some have discounts, some don't. We appreciate you using those, and you can save a few dollars. The other thing, too, is there is on Instagram the PowerTac M5 flashlight giveaway. It's still going, so you can go tag a couple people and enter to win that thing. End of the month is when we're going to give it away. So, Rob, take it away.
So, Chad, the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. This is not legal advice, nor should it be considered as such. Your discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows. Now for a review of the Athlon Prism, Chad.
Yes. And, okay, I'm going to actually hold this up to the camera because I just took it off of the rifle it was on. I'm going to put it on something else because I'm going to mount that 1-6 on that rifle. But yes, this is the Athlon Optics Midas TSP1 Prism. So if you've listened to the show for a while, you know that I want to switch over a few rifles to 1X Prism sights from Red Dots because they offer a reticle with no need for a battery. Thus, the Athlon Midas TSP1 Prism sight was right up my alley. Prism sights usually have an aluminum reticle option, as does this one. This particular Prism sight's been out for a little while now. I just finally got around to being able to use one. I've had it for about 3 months with good results so far. So, let's start by why I'm considering switching to prisms. The main reason for that is that for some reason the battery happens to die. Prism sights have etched in reticles, similar to your typical scope. Some prism sights, as with the TSP1, have non-magnified options or 1 power. This makes them an ideal replacement for your everyday red dot optic. Prism sights are usually pretty compact also. Plus, I have an astigmatism, and prism sights are therefore clear. The TSP1 comes feature-packed. Like any good scope these days, it has all fancy lens coatings, nitrogen purged, fog-proof, shock-proof, waterproof, all that stuff. The TSP One has a 21 millimeter objective lens, gives good light transmission for this type of optic, even comes with both high and low mounts. Zeroing adjustments are made with one MOA click adjustments using the top side of the turret cap. So you take the turret cap off, flip it over. It's got a little flathead built into it to adjust it. And lastly, it uses a single AAA battery for reticle illumination. Most prism sights aren't as small as comparable red dots. However, the Midas TSP1 is not much larger than your current tube-style red dots. For one, the TSP1 is only 2.7 inches long. Of course, height is always determined by what mounting base you have on it. But in this case, with the high base, it measures 2.5 inches to the top of the battery compartment, which is the tallest part on this optic. And then it measures 1.9 inches wide, also basically from the adjustment buttons to the side of the battery compartment. So you can see it's not very big at all. It's also not very heavy, as it weighs 6.25 ounces without a battery. And now, for the most important part, is the reticle of the Midas TSP1. It is top-notch in my opinion. It's mainly calibrated for 223, 556. It should work reasonably well with other calibers like 308, stuff like that, where it's typically have about the same drops. For reference, I did mount it on a 556 AR-15. It happened to be a 16-inch. The reticle design works really well. I call it a horseshoe style with a few usable differences. The outer ring is 66 MOA instead of 65 like on a lot of them, which is basically the equivalent of the average size human at 100 yards. In the middle of the ring is a 3 MOA dot. Sight the 3 MOA dot in at 50 or 200 yards, and then the rest of the holdovers will work mostly properly, depending on, velocity, stuff like that. Below the 3 MOA dot is a 2 MOA dot. This is your 300-yard aiming point. Having the smaller dot below the main dot may seem a little odd, but it isn't. The smaller dot actually makes it easier to see your 300-yard target because it doesn't obscure it as much as like 3 MOA dot would. Then below the 2 MOA dot is a vertical line with a couple of hash mark lines. The top of the line is at your 500-yard aiming point. There's a picture of the reticle in the review over at the firearmsinsider.tv, so if you don't quite get it, you can go take a look at it. Of course, that little line is also your human height range estimation for 300 yards. Then it has some wings on the edge of the reticle. They really just let you know how level the gun is or where the center point is for range estimation. The actual MOA numbers for all the dots and lines are in the Midas TSP1 manual or online, of course. If you're curious, you can click on it in the review and it'll take you there. The TSP1 also has a fast focus eyepiece, so you can get the reticle crystal clear. Now, the Athlon TSP1's reticle is also illuminated, as I hinted to, but it's not just your normal red illumination. The TSP1 also has green illumination. Of course, most other prism sights only give you the option of one color, either red or green. This one you can switch between the two colors by pressing both up and down brightness buttons at the same time. I really like the option of the green or red. I usually actually leave the TSP1 on the green reticle, as in this case the green is a little bit clearer for me. Not to be misunderstood, the red illumination is also clear, but I just prefer the green in this case. So to initially turn on the illumination, of course, you just push the brightness up button. To turn it off, hold the brightness up button for 3 seconds. Of course, once it's on, plus minus buttons to increase or decrease the brightness. There's 10 brightness settings to choose from. Both colors are daylight bright and neither washed out for me in direct bright sunlight. The TSP1 also has a 6-hour auto off function. So if you haven't pressed any buttons in that time frame, it'll turn off and just leave you with the standard dark etched reticle. The TSP1 does not, however, have an auto on function. And remember, it's got the etched reticles, so you still have an aiming point. Of course, once you turn the TSP back on, the brightness levels where you left it the last time it automatically turned off. The soft touch brightness buttons are large enough that I don't have trouble using them like some optics I've used in the past. Something I can't say about everything. I really did enjoy using the Athlon Midas TSP1. It's super clear. The etched illuminated reticle doesn't affect my astigmatism like red dots, so no starbursts, which is another great reason to switch to prism optics. The somewhat limited eye relief didn't seem to be a problem. When I say somewhat, the reticle is still visible at like 12 inches of eye relief. It's just harder to locate because the window size gets smaller. TSP1 also performed very well for me when I used it at a fairly big local match a couple months ago. Athlon does not, however, state battery life, but the initial AAA battery is still going strong. After all, AAA batteries are super easy to find, even at your tiny store in the middle of nowhere. Unlike 2032s, they sometimes don't have those. They'll probably have AAAs, though. Athlon Optics did a pretty good job with the Midas TSP1. MSRP may seem a little high, but street price is right on par for a 1X prism sight. Plus, you get multicolored reticles and the AAA battery use. If you're like me and want a good 1X prism sight, go check out the Athlon Midas TSP1. It's a good all-around prism to replace that fully battery-powered red dot. So we'll get into the Firearms Insider Review 8 key points. Of course, the claim to fame is the 1-power prism scope with green or red illumination. Target market, pretty much anybody wanting a non-magnified optic with the benefits of having an etched reticle. Now, the features and benefits. Objective lens is 21 millimeters. Field of view at 100 yards is 66 feet. 10 illumination settings. Center height is 0.88 inches low mount and 1.5 inches high mount. So that's not above the bore. That's off the bottom of the mount. It has 1 MOA windage elevation adjustments. It weighs 7.8 ounces with the high mount. Length is 2.7 inches, multi-coated lenses, and it has an Aimpoint T1 mounting footprint. So aftermarket mounts will work with this. Other options available, you can get a 3 or 4 power prism sight from them. There's a what others are saying in there, and I could not find any worthwhile other reviews on there, even YouTube ones. So price point, MSRP is $337.49, and this is where I said, but retail, you can get it for $269.99 at Brownells. So Athlon Optics or Brownells is where you can find it, plus various other places. So for the pros, I gave it the etched ranging reticle, the AAA battery, and the green or red illumination, and the T1 compatible mount. For the cons, the eye relief, it's good, but it's not superb, I guess. And there's no auto on this thing. So for the score, I gave it a 7.5, which is good. So you guys got any questions on it that I missed?
Okay, you said it comes with green or red. You change it using the selector?
Correct.
Okay. That's nice. I mean,
yeah, that's a
lot of them are green, or it's green, or you get a red one.
Right, and that's and in the review, there's a picture looking through it at a Target, and the picture's not great, but you'll see the green reticle, and then right next to it is the red reticle. If you click on them, they get large. But yeah, I actually like it. I actually like the reticle in it. It's a good.
Yeah.
See, I was seeing earlier if you could actually see the reticle, but
not really. You
can
see the green dot.
You can see the green.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah, and then if I switch it over, it becomes red. So
Where's the 100-yard aiming point at for it?
It's dead center. It's the dead center dot in it.
Because I wasn't sure if that was a 5200.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that is the 5200. There is no actual 100-yard. If there is, I think it's like the bottom of the dot or something. I can't remember.
Okay. That's what my question I was
Yeah.
wondering. I like the ranging capability of it because you could correlate this into hunting like for like deer or something like that, and if you know your distance and the size of your animals and the size of the humans, you could figure that out really quick.
Yeah.
So that's what that was. I do like the AAA battery. That's a good feature, like you said. You can have a AAA battery, and I carry several of them with me, usually for flashlights anyway.
Right, and like there's certain places, towns where I've been hunting before. Not that I really go hunting much anymore, but they have a little store, and that's like everything. And the likelihood of finding, maybe nowadays, but finding a 2032 battery, yeah, I don't know. But a AAA, they're probably going to have.
No, they're everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Tony?
No, I like the fact that it's, stigmatism, bro. It's got an reticle, so it works for me. That's what it really comes down to. I mean, some are better than, some red dots are better than others, but when you got the edge prism, I can see it now. Precise aim points, so it's easier. So that's what I think about it. So cool.
Yep. Yeah. I have one prism sight that I run, and I carry a lot when I go hunting, and it's shake awake technology, but I mean, even if the battery's dead, I pull the battery tray out of it, and you can still see it, and it's fantastic.
Right.
So you said that there's no auto off, right?
It's a 6 hour
6 hours off.
auto off.
Okay.
So
but there's no shake awake.
Correct. So
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it to put on like a fighting carbine, like at your house or something like that, because you want the illuminated reticle when you like pick up the rifle or something to that effect. And if it's been 6.5 hours, you have to turn it on. Now, granted, there's still a reticle there, but of course it's not illuminated. So that's why pretty much the biggest flaw is the no auto on, and you can't lock out to leave it on where there's no auto off. But other than that, I mean, for like hunting or, just use, it works fantastic.
Right. What they say the runtime
I'm gonna have
was?
to dig into that.
They do not.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I was like, I looked everywhere and I was going to contact him, and then I was like, it's not super critical, but like I said, I've used it quite a bit and turn it on, and it's still on their original AAA battery. And usually it's summer, so I'm always running it at one of the higher brightness settings.
Right.
So that was the Athlon TSP1 Prism sight. And now, I don't think they sell these here, but you can get all kinds of other stuff here at Primary Arms. And Primary Arms seeks to provide you the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from your favorite brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearm parts, and shooting gear. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, fast shipping, and an expert support team. Our Primary Arms product of the week this week is a red dot. It's the HoloSun SCS MOS in green. This is basically the little all-solar red dot that fits on the MOS platform that you just mount directly. It's the same width as the Glock slide, all that stuff. It looks like they're out of stock now, of course, because when I put them in the show notes, they weren't. But I'm sure they'll come back in stock, and this is the green version. So that's the product of the week. Don't forget to sign up for Primary Arms newsletter and more by going to frn.deal/PA, and the coupon code is back to FRN, and you get a Primary Arms gun cleaning kit with the purchase of a Primary Arms optic. Like the two I showed you earlier, you would get a free gun cleaning kit with. So now we're on to the product spotlight and discussion. And first up is the Wolfpack Armory WP-47. MSRP on this is $14.99. And this is where we get the commie pistol from, because up in there on their actual page, it says the WP-47-commie pistol up in the title bar, or whatever you want to call it, search bar. and that's why I put that in there. And it's kind of cool. You can get it in a few different colors: bronze, black, gray, or OD green. But basically, it's a lower receiver designed to use Magpul MOE 762x39 AKM magazines. It's a billet receiver, integral trigger guard, flared magwell, M16, M4 AR trigger pockets, so it even accepts binary triggers without modification. It says precision CNC machined to upper receiver for zero movement between the upper and lower receivers. So basically a matched receiver set. It has a non-reciprocating side charging machined billet aluminum charging handle. Handguards 9.5 inches, M-lock, of course, integrated QD ports, anti-rotation tabs, and a barrel nut interlocking system. Because it's a pistol that's 10.5 inch 7.62x39, it runs a carbine length gas system, and it's a 1 in 10 twist rate salt bath nitrided barrel. It's running, it looks like an HTS flash hider, which kind of looks like an A2 one to me, but hey, what do I know? Bolt carrier group, 8620 carrier, 9310 MPI tested bolt material, both salt bath nitrided, hard chrome firing pin, grade 8 bolts properly staked, low profile gas system as it says. Comes with their 2-stage combat trigger, Magpul K2 plus grip, SB Tactical A3 pistol brace, and the Cerakote, depending on what you want, the colors. I saw this and I was like, if you're looking for something that's different, because the lower is a dedicated AK mag lower. It has a standard paddle release for the AK mags, but it's kind of, the uppers it's an AR upper for the most part. I thought, this is kind of cool. I mean, I would seriously thinking about getting something like this if I wanted something in 7.62x39 that was just different. That's just me. Anybody else?
So is it an AR upper, basically, kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
Boat carrier is what I'm wondering.
Some AR style.
But since it's a non-reciprocating side charging handle, I'm like,
nice.
Yeah. So it's like an AR upper, but the side charging handle is left side. But I think it's still kind of an AR style bolt, at least by reading what the bolt carrier group consists of.
Don't underestimate the power of a reciprocating charging handle.
I know a lot of the 7.62x39 ARs, they have a very thin wall on the boat carrier, and they're prone to fail. That's what I was wondering, if this is an AR style boat in this one,
right? And it doesn't really say,
or is it or if it's an AK boat, and but I like it.
Or do they do what CMMG does and have a
308
AR-10 size? Yeah, AR-10 size bolt face that's thicker. So I'm looking at this, right, because this isn't out yet, so there's no reviews, there's no nothing. So I started looking at their other products and people that reviewed those, and it seems they make AR-15s that with the billet, receivers that are a little more expensive than other stuff. It's like, $300 to $400 more than other stuff in the same price range, kind of, sort of. I mean, like, you look at what you're getting and it's like a little more expensive, maybe a couple $100 more expensive. So, but no one says it's garbage. No one says it sucks. Everybody's like, yeah, this is what they make, and they run it. So I started looking at what alternatives are, like I always do. And you got the Banshee for like $1,800. It's the same thing, but they at least have a track record that you know about. And then you have the Palmetto State Armory KS-47. I think that's what it's called, right?
I think so.
Yeah, KS-47, and I pulled them all up, and I'm comparing stuff, and there's pros and cons on each side. PSA has the KS-47 has like an 8.5-inch barrel with theirs, and you go through it. It doesn't have a side non-reciprocating side charging handle, but it has a really regular charging handle that does AR. Excuse me, it has a regular AR charging handle that doesn't reciprocate. So it's like, and it's half the price. But you don't get all the cool Cerakote colors. But for the $700 you save, you can send it out and get whatever color you want. So, and again, they don't have a track record with this yet. I don't want to be the beta tester for somebody else's new thing when there's either the $700, $800 version I can get from PSA or the $1,800 version I can get from CMMG.
There you
So
go.
yeah, give them time. Options are better. Options are great. And again, they build good guns. Everybody says they all work, and the only complaint I'd heard about them was, again, they're like a couple $100 more than everyone else's AR, but they use billet upper and lower receiver.
There you
So
go.
that's where at least you can track your expense. They use a billet upper lower receiver, and they don't charge you extra for Cerakote.
Yeah.
I'm glad another company's making these. It's an American company, and I wish them the best of luck, man.
Yep.
I wish they made one of those non-FA firearms, though. Like, put a 12.5-inch on it and put a vertical grip and send one to the diversity ship, bro.
That's right. That's right.
I really like it. That's one of the things when I looked at it, I really liked it. I got a little confused on the AR AK mag platform, and the bolt was the only thing I had questions about. But I do like it, and I'd like to see more of them out there. I know their WP9 has got good reviews on it, so I'm assuming this is going to be good as well. So
Yeah.
if it's something that American company that can come out with and run with the rest of them, more power to them.
No kidding. No kidding. Rob, you got anything?
No, I think it looks cool. It's kind of like a hybrid, I guess. An AR upper with a AK lower.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I think it'd be better as an SBR, but you can't get what you want all the time, right?
Yeah. Because then, you just buy it and then you just spend $200 and put a stock on it. Yeah, we know. So that was the Wolfpack Armory WP-47. Next up, Zerotech Optics. I know we talked about one of their little mini red dots a while back. Has introduced, this is their top of the line. It's a Trace Advanced 3 to 18 by 50 long range hunter illuminated reticle with an MRAD reticle. MSRP is $11.99. So after having this 2.5 to 15 from another manufacturer, I'm really liking the mid-range scopes, like 2.5 to 15, 3 to 18, that range of scopes, which is part of the reason I put this in here. I was like, oh, this is sweet. So this is their long-range hunter first focal plane reticle. Like I said, it is illuminated. It's a 30 millimeter tube. One thing nice about these is the flip covers are alloy, or basically aluminum, instead of just the normal plastic. It's got their precision turret system. It's got a capped windage turret. They do have zero stop for their elevation, and which is pretty awesome. They say 92% light transmission, etched reticle. Of course, the MRAD reticle's what it is. Their long-range hunter reticle looks like it's like a small Christmas tree illuminated with hash marks at various distances. It looks like every half MOA, half one, yeah, or half MRAD, I should say. Sorry, but it looks like a decent combo reticle. They say something about it's a true hybrid reticle, so if you're shooting farther away targets or for hunting, give you quick acquisition of whatever you're shooting at. Let's get down here to the specs. Like we said, it does have a zero stop. Turret index is 0.1 MRAD, 26 MRAD, and 20 for windage and elevation. Of course, parallax is 25 to infinity. Exit pupil diameter 9.5 millimeters or 2.8 millimeters. So your eye relief is 100 millimeters, which, translated that into inches is about 4 inches. So your field of view is in meters because they haven't converted it over yet because it's that new 11.2 meters on low and 1.9 meters on high. And like we said, dimension wise, it's like 14.6 inches long, something like that. I don't know if it has weight on it. And 825 grams if somebody wants to convert that. I don't know how long it is. I do
7,000 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, the illumination and the parallax adjustment are on the same knob. I do like how the top turret for elevation is not capped, and then they cap the side one. I thought that was pretty cool. Supposedly they have really good light transmission. They've been around a while, just now they're pushing hard in the US. I think it's probably a decent scope. I like the features they're running in it. It probably has good light transmission. The reticle is not super cluttered, so I like that also. Everything else.
What's the weight that you had on it?
825 grams.
All right, because I have one 817 is like 1.8 pounds.
Yeah, I was going to say a scope like this usually weighs, around that anyway. So, yeah, so the weight's right in there with what you would expect. Hey, I wish them luck. I actually like it. It's their top tier scope, so that's why the price is $1,200. Probably comparable to quite a bit of stuff that's out there. What do you guys got on it?
All the reviews I've seen on the other scopes have been great. I know they're on the Australian company, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
And there was a guy that had a 22 with this on there, and he was shooting it 430 yards, ringing 12-inch steel. It was one of the first reviews that pulls up on it, and he said the glass was just fantastic on it. I mean, other than that, I wish it was an MOA because that's just what I'm used to. It's what I shoot, but
that's what I wish too. And I wonder, I'm wondering if they're going to bring one out in that, because like there are two other Trace Advanced, which are 4.5 to 27. One is MOA and one is MRAD basically. So I'm wondering if they're going to bring one out in the 3 to 18 that is also MOA. Don't know, but
I do like that adjustment because you can still run up close and stretch out long distance with that 3 to 18.
Yeah, and that's
I really do like that.
Yeah, that's me too. Also, I mean, it's like I said, I have a 2.5 to 15 that I'm doing a review on here in a couple weeks, probably. But the range of it is just a great range, especially like for hunting or and if you need to reach out. I mean, I've reached out to 800 and some yards with a fixed 10 power scope, so it's not like it can't be done.
You don't need 30-40 power to get out that far.
Right.
I mean, every time I've done a long range class, they always tell you don't crank your rifle scope up to max.
Yep.
I've done mine 10 to 15 power, and that's about all I need for 600 yards.
Yeah, I mean, the only time you really might need more is it for target identification or something.
And like I was told with my rifle classes, don't worry about mils or MOA. Think of it in terms of clicks. Go out there, sight it in, and since you got a first focal plane, then you can crank it all the way up, see where your group is, and look how many clicks you need to move up or to the left or right, and then you can just move the turrets accordingly. So you don't have to worry about, oh God, is this millimeters or MOA? Just look through your scope.
Yeah.
And they'll basically tell you how far to move it up and down.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I did the Appleseed shoot just like Rob talked about long range classes, and I did it with a center fire at the actual distance instead of the modified targets, and that was fantastic. That we were running like 6 power is all I would run on mine, so it was one thing. Like when we were standing and you're running a lot of magnification, you start shaking a lot, but down on the ground you can crank up a little bit more. But I really like this scope, and all the reviews have been good. I haven't seen anything bad about them.
Nice. Tony, you got anything on this one?
No, not really.
Okay. So that was the Trace Advanced 3 to 18 by 50 long-range hunter. Now, Primary Weapon Systems has brought out their BDE 762 suppressor. MSRP is $1099.95. This is their first suppressor, as far as my understanding is. It is 762 caliber, as the name kind of implies. It does use some 3D printed titanium, so that's kind of it is modular, so you can remove some of the baffles on the end. It's compatible with the universal 1375 by 24 TPI pattern, so most suppressor mounts it can use. Of course, it's anodized and Cerakoted, type 2 anodizing with high temperature Cerakote on the outside for the finish. Taper threaded baffles prevent carbon locking and loosening between the baffles. You know, the length on it is either you can vary it between 6.5 and 8.2 inches. It is 1 3/4 inch outside diameter. It weighs 12.7 to 17.4 depending on the length, and they say it is good up to 300 Win Mag. Let's see. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 4 removable baffles on the end. So basically you can tune it to what you like or shorten it up if you're going hunting. Something to that effect. You know, the baffle design is pretty cool. It's got some pictures on it. You know, it's 3D printed. Some of the baffles. I think Rusty was saying that the back 4 are just CNC machined.
The threads are mounted or titanium 3D printed, and the rest of the stacks are CNC machined.
Right. So the extra ones are
There was a video I watched on it of the gas flowing through the baffles, which was pretty cool how they do it. And what I really liked about it is being 3D printed. It's got curves, and you don't have to worry about the machining of the point in there of being machined. It's got a more free flow for the gas to go through.
Right. Yeah, which is an advantage with suppressors and 3D printing them out of metal, is you can do stuff that you can't quite do with a normal machining. They do give decibel ratings. So at the shooter's left ear in the short configuration, it's 136 decibels. Long is 135.2. 1 meter left of the muzzle, basically. Short is 141 and long is 134. So essentially with that, what's hearing safe? 130 or under or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So it's still not completely hearing safe, but for like a hunting suppressor or something to that effect, I understand why they do it this way. But, you know, hey, it's up to you. And of course you have to hear them to see what they sound like. You know, it's all that kind of stuff that we always say stuff about like that. Okay, it's all you guys. You guys can tell me what you think about it.
I like it. It's something new. It's something different.
Yeah.
The 3D printing sounds pretty cool. I mean, what I like is the first baffle coming out of the rifle is titanium is actually titanium cut and not printed. I'd be worried about, even though it's titanium printed, getting that first blast out there, ruining it. My question is, where do they put the serial number at on it? I'm hoping it's that first baffle.
The first two stations.
Yeah, the first
I would
two.
hope so.
Yeah. And I think that's how most of the ones that they get approved that are modular.
It's direct thread, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Price is decent.
As Tony has said 100 times, I've heard, we're in the golden age of firearms. Anything new that a company can put out and use modern technology to make something better, smoother, and it looks good too, I'm all about. I mean, if they can make it run and if it sounds good, got a good first round pop to it, man, I'm good. And it's modular, and we're all about modularity. We all run ARs, so we're all about modular. So yeah, I'm good with it. I like it.
Yep. Tony?
Yep. pretty much I agree with these guys. I think it's really good. And again, like you said, man, you got to hear that first shot. You have to hear the tone because sometimes when they give you these decibel readings, that's not what it sounds like to your ear. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like I was at one shoot, and this one company's particular suppressors hurt my ears.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, wait a minute, dude, how is this just one? Everybody else's is like, okay, cool. And this one company, no matter what caliber they ran through, subsonic or not, sounded horrible. So you do have to hear these things and see how whether you want to get it or not.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
well,
pitch is everything.
yeah, I was gonna say pitch is, and it also depends on, 130 decibels at 200 hertz is a lot different than 100, 20 decibels at 20,000 hertz. So that makes a difference too, as opposed to ear damage and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. So that was the PWS BDE 762 suppressor. And now, we're on to everybody's favorite knife. Okay, so it's another knife, but it's the Kershaw Launch 11 Blade HQ exclusive. MSRP is $139.95 because the only place you can get it's Blade HQ. So this is an auto knife because it's their launch series, but the exclusive has been upgraded to CPM 20 CV steel with a black aluminum handle and a blue pivot, which is kind of the Blade HQ colors. So, it's still the stonewash drop point blade, the standard push button auto of theirs. Let's see. Overall length is 6 3/4 inches. Blade length, it's only 2 3/4 inch blade length. Width is 0.75 inches. Thickness is 0.12 inches. We already went over what type it is. Handle length is 3.8 inches and 3/4 of an inch thick. 0.47 actually thick and 7.5 wide. I hate how they do that with knives, but weighs 2.1 ounces. So when you lose it, you will not know you lost it, which is the only problem with these autos from Kershaw is they weigh nothing. I'm surprised Tony still has his. But, I like how they updated it with the 20 CV steel. Of course, it's a button lock because it's that type of auto. So you got to push the button again to put the knife blade back in. I like some of the Kershaw autos. I do like the 13 or whatever Tony has. I'm just kind of think it's cool. They add a different steel to it. I shouldn't say the other ones have decent steel, but you get what I'm saying. So it's all you guys now.
All right, I was checking it out, right? It's smaller than a Launch 13 by like 2 inches, bro.
Exactly. It's only got a 2 3/4 inch blade.
It's small. Like my hand's big enough. I moved it somewhere so I don't have my knife with me in my knife bag. The 13 fits all of my fingers, so I can use it and I have a good grip on it. Being 2 inches shorter, this is going to be like a 2-finger hole, maybe 2 or 3.5 finger hole. You got to keep that in mind when you're working with something that's really sharp, but it's really small. So, I mean, outside of that, it's cool. Blade shape, not so much. Like I like the Warncliffe blade on the 13. This is just a regular blade shape, dude. But if you want a Blade HQ exclusive, and that's one of the things you dig, cool. I mean, that's the only company that carries it. The price is not ridiculous. They didn't beat you up over it. It's the same price as the Launch 13. So if you want one of those, they're exclusives, pick it up. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. It's a lot of fun flipping this thing back open and closed, and just keep it lubed.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody else?
Yeah. The 20 CV steel is about 180 times stronger than the 440 stainless. It's a better steel. It's comparable to some of the D2s out on the market. I I think it's the Rockwell harnesses between like 58 to 61, I believe.
Yeah, so about where
And so
D2
it's a
is.
pretty durable blade. Yeah, it's a pretty durable blade, and it's easy to sharpen. And I think that it might not get as sharp, but it is more durable than some of the D2s out there, way I understand. And because there's so many new blades coming out, I wish it was 3/4 of an inch longer in the blade.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah, it's 3.5-inch blade, but they make other versions. This is kind of, I think, their small version.
Oh, is that what it is? I didn't
like
even
it.
check out the other links. Yet.
Well, no, I don't mean in the
Yeah.
Launch 11, but the Launch series, you can get all different options.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to ask Tony, because I know Tony had a launch, but I didn't know which one it was. That's why I was going to ask what his blade length was in his.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I have the
But
13.
I like it.
And
Yeah.
it's got the 13 has a 3.5-inch blade. I think the 13 looks cooler. I mean, that's why I bought it. It actually made me pull the trigger on it. It just looked cool enough to make me want to buy it. This looks nice, but it's not the same to me.
yeah,
It doesn't look as cool.
it doesn't look as cool, but for some people, it might look cooler. It's out there.
Yep.
I think it's a decent knife. Like Tony said, it is a little smaller than I would like, but hey, not everybody. Some people have small hands, So there you go.
Truthfully,
Yeah.
their Blackwash series looks
Uh-huh.
cooler to me.
Yeah.
I just went through because I was checking them out because I knew they had more than one.
Yeah.
And again, I was watching a bunch of videos, and a lot of these knife guys like the idea of having exclusives. It's just like they have to get them when they come out. So,
Yeah.
Hey, cool. Buy
Yeah.
it. I think they're all good knives,
Guarantee it.
and they're USA made,
Yeah.
which brings us into our.
Yeah. So that was the Launch 11 Blade HQ exclusive, and thanks to Tony, our listener feedback. And I'm going to just get rid of what I said in here because you'll figure it out here in a second. And this is from, let's see, 367 $?588. And I'm confused over this, but I'm reading it. It says, you have no idea what you were talking about. I typically like the podcast, but America Last was a bunch of right-wing tropes that you inaccurately and reek of people who don't know what they're talking about at all. So disappointing. And I'm super confused as to, I think this guy doesn't know what he is talking about, because I actually think he may have left a review for a completely different show that I have no idea what is. Anybody?
Wait a damn minute. That stupid collection of letters was his actual
Exactly. Yeah.
name?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
I
put-
wasted my dang time looking at that freaking episode thinking I said something about America Last.
well, I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking back to the last like 4 or 5 episodes, and I'm like, yeah, Zane was drunk, but none of this was about America Last. There was nothing about, right-wing tropes or, people who don't know what they're talking about at all. I'm like, I just don't get it. I'm like, the only thing that makes sense to me is he didn't know what he was leaving a review for. And of course, it doesn't even have a real name. So I think he just typed some stuff in and, so I don't know. I mean, if we're like, we like shooting,
Yeah,
we could make a t-shirt out of this.
Dude, I went and watched that entire episode going to work this morning on it like 1 3/4 speed going, because that sounds like some like offhand joke I'd make about America Last.
Yeah, but no. Yeah.
And I'm like, not really, because just some people hear it with half an ear and think I'm serious.
Right. Yeah. I was like, this is too confusing. So thanks for leaving us a 1-star review. I forgot to say that because you don't know what's going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah, whatever.
yep. and
So
that's-
I'm crushed
Or if they
and
listen
hurt.
in today to see if we talked about them.
Yo, and
No, he's listening into the off-road podcast, waiting for them to talk about it. When are those guys from the off-road podcast going to read my email?
Or the other thing.
Wrong show.
Yeah. I mean, hey, he might have been listening to something else and he might listen to our show. And he just accidentally left the review for the wrong show. You know, so Aaron, we got some review for you. So, Tony, tell us about some diversity shoots that are coming up, like, I don't know, Thursday or something.
Well, I just got found out that they talked about the diversity shoot on the Gun for Hire radio podcast, and that Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie and John Petrolino, for the author of Decoding Firearms and also a writer for Bearing Arms podcast, is actually going to be there. Another oil rig guy. So he's going to be at the diversity shoot, both of them, and we're going to have some fun. We have a lot of people buying tickets because, again, they announced it, I announced it, and been running ads for it for two weeks now. So we have a lot of people coming. We're going to have a lot of guns. We're going to have pizza. We're going to have fun. And hopefully we have you come out. And if you don't make it out to this diversity shoot, well, go to my visit my social media. Simon Says Train on Facebook. Simon Says Train on Instagram. And the second is for everyone on Facebook. And I will have links Friday morning to the diversity shoot after this one, and you can buy your tickets. But if you miss this one at Gun for Hire Range, you're really going to miss a good one, because we're going to have a lot of people and a lot of guest volunteers. So see you then. Thanks a lot. Please support us by purchasing t-shirts and our swag at diversityshoot.com and making donations to our GoFundMe or PayPal or even our Patreon. Oh, and thanks a lot to Gun Websites for boosting us up to over 1,000 subscribers on Simon Says Train on Simon Says Train on YouTube. So now that we can do some more stuff because we reached the 1,000 level, we can actually monetize some videos, and I'm going to start doing shorts and doing things like that to just have multiple streams of income coming in for the diversity shoot, so I can start paying for more ammo and other things that need to be paid for, because we're hosting 4 times as many this year than we've ever hosted before. So thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me come on the show and be able to talk about this, because we're in year number that I've been on the show.
We don't keep track of that stuff
only because of the diversity shoot.
That's not the only reason you're still here. So, yes, Tony.
Hundreds of shows later.
Exactly. So, you can send us questions, comments, or feedback to gungearreview@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. You can check out all the other great shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.net. Don't forget to visit the Firearms Insider at firearmsinsider.tv. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Firearms Insider. And tonight, thank you for listening to America's largest pound-for-pound podcast. And we are out.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Hillary did.